Hello, my name is Michael Holm, and I am the Nordic partner in Global PMI Partners. The Nordics, that is Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland. And I'm based in Stockholm, Sweden. I would like to give you a short introduction to Global PMI Partners. We are 20 partners. We are international. We are senior, and we are all PMI practitioners. We have been and have experience from over 260 transactions, and all that experience and knowledge goes into our training programs. And that's what we're here today. We're talking about the M&A Planning Essentials course today. And I turn over to my partner, Thomas, to introduce us to himself and a little bit about the course. Go ahead, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Michael, and hello to everyone that's listening to us today. M&A Integration Planning Essentials for Executives is focused on the 9 key steps that you need to understand and need to prioritize and manage effectively for integration success of your M&A transactions. It's also focusing on the 3 key events that will help you to align and accelerate your integration activities. Hello, my name is Tom Kessler, and I'm the German partner of Global PMI Partners.
And how much have you worked with post-merger integration, Thomas? Can you tell us a little bit about that before we get into the meat of the course? Go ahead.
I've been involved in post-merger integration assignments since 1995. Since that time, I've been instrumental in 32 integrations, and there have been transactions among those 32 assignments that were multi-billion transactions, but also transactions in the 100 million size and larger. So a very good mix of transactions that I have in my experience.
Okay, that's great to hear. You've seen all the different aspects. And now a little bit to what drove you to create this course. What's behind the scenes here, and why did you want to give this course to executives?
Yeah, very good point. What drove me to actually design this course? I've learned, seen it, and also heard and discussed this with many executives time and time again, that if they would have spent a little bit more time in planning and preparing integration activities, that their acquisitions could have been much more successful. And I think that really kind of was the impetus of saying, I need to bring something to the market, also from a training aspect, not only from a consulting point of view, but also from a training point of view, that helps executives to understand the importance of planning and preparing an integration.
That's very interesting, Thomas. I can understand that. I can understand that executives sometimes find themselves in situations where they have not planned and should have planned. And why should a seasoned executive take this course, in your opinion?
Well, if you look towards synergy development, if you look towards cultural analysis or cultural alignment or communication planning, just to name 3 key elements in any integration, what I think is most important is that an executive knows what are the key steps and can differentiate between those key steps and the noise and the busy work that comes with every transaction. And by being able to differentiate between those focuses the organization on the very few vital key parts, because that will help to accelerate the integration, that will help to generate momentum, and obviously that builds value in any integration and transaction.
So talking about value, what is an executive, should an executive expect from the course? What will they get from the course, Thomas?
Very good question. Let me probably start off with how we designed the course. So it's going to be class discussion on the one hand, but also group discussion. We'll discuss case studies, and we'll provide war stories of our experience that we have had. I mean, you mentioned it, 260 transactions is quite a bit that we have within Global PMI Partners. So it's important to understand that the learning environment is going to be diverse. It's going to be really a good mix of various forms of learning. What's in the course? We'll start off the course with looking at the success factors of every M&A transaction. We'll discuss when to acquire, when to set up a joint venture, when to grow organically. Why do we do this? Because you really need to hone in the strategic reasoning why you do a transaction. Because from there, everything else evolves. You get the momentum of your employees. You get the momentum of your customers and suppliers. You get everyone on board if you can communicate that successfully. We'll follow on with an intense discussion on integration due diligence, so looking at synergies, looking at integration costs, looking at culture, looking at communication planning, all of these things that you need to do in integration due diligence, as well as a very high-level integration plan. We move on from there to discuss more in depth our synergy analysis approach. That comes with two templates, one for larger corporations and one for smaller transactions and mid-sized, more family-owned transactions. From there, we continue to discuss how to set up an integration management office, including the governance, escalation mechanisms, but also the planning steps that you need to do and need to take, such as, for example, a day one activity, which is just one element out of the various that we need to discuss.
Okay, and what about leadership and communication? We know that leadership is so important about that and selecting your leadership. Will that be discussed in the course?
Yes, absolutely. This is actually one core element and very dear to me, that before you actually sign, that you think about who's going to lead the company going forward. So who of the target's leadership team is going to actually join you in moving it forward, or is not joining you in moving forward. And that's an important step. But we'll also discuss then stakeholder analysis. Who are the stakeholders? What are their concerns? How to actually address those concerns. We'll discuss in depth the cultural analysis. So how do these two companies mesh? What can you do to actually change the culture from A to B, and what mechanisms are there to do that? We'll also continue to discuss the functional integration. That means we'll talk about what you need to do in the finance integration, sales, marketing integration, IT integration, procurement, R&D. So looking at the various functions that you need to think about when actually integrating two companies.
That's great. And you talked about that the participants will tap into our knowledge at Global PMI Partners, as well as the other participants' knowledge. And I also understand that you will use a case study that made it very far up in the academic world. Isn't that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we'll present a case study that is today a Darden University of Virginia case study. So an Ivy League university in the States. And that's even taught at Harvard.
That sounds great. So thanks, everybody, for your time. The course can be found at gpmip.com. That's www.gpmip.com under services. And then under the tab M&A skills, you can find information about the course. You can contact Sheila Mayfield to get more information of the course. And she is on the website as well and on the contact form. So thank you very much. And just last but not least, I can see in the background behind Thomas, but here's our book that we co-wrote together. It's assembled by our partner in the US, Scott Whitaker. It talks about cross-border mergers and acquisitions from the beginning to the end. We're 9 co-authors from 8 different countries. So we wrote this together, and you can buy it off Amazon.com. Thank you very much, everybody, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone.